have the community garden represented this morning, we have the sculptors represented, we have the historical group, and there are going to be a series of about 4 speakers. So let me take a look.
We have Kieran McManus, who's our councilman. He's going to tell us what's happening. We have Ray Turner from the Historical Preservation Committee and the History and Arts Foundation. And we have Lynn Jordan. Yeah, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Of the Desert Sculptors, who's involved with Reflections Park. In order to save this whole park, we need to all work together, not just the gardeners alone, not just the sculptors alone, and not just the historical preservation people alone. We all need to work together to save this park. So I invited Kieran, Ray, and Lynn to come and tell us what's going on. Kieran?
Well, thanks everybody for coming out. I just want to let you know, this was kind of a surprise to me anyway. A ballot question was brought to the city council last month to sell this property along with the old airport hangar. There seems to be a movement among some city staff members to get rid of property that the city owns. This particular question did not go forward because of a question about some of the ownership, some of the title to the land here, but was said it was going to be brought back to city council. Now, I did just find out on Thursday that the city manager does not intend, we have a new city manager who just started last week. He does not intend to bring this back to city council anytime soon. So that's really great news that he doesn't intend to do that. But I suspect we're going to see these efforts come and go. The reason it has to be a ballot question, of course, is there's a requirement that any time a piece of land over an acre is put up for sale, it has to go to a vote of the people here in Boulder City. So this parcel is over an acre. But of course, it's more than just land, obviously. We've got Reflection Park with all the sculptures. We've got this beautiful building here. And we've got the community garden. So there's a lot more going on here than just a piece of vacant land. We certainly have plenty of vacant land if we need to sell something. I don't know why there's a hurry to do this. But the other part of that is, we need to try and get something going where we don't let a property like this just sit here and deteriorate. Amen. And I think probably everybody's seen, I know Libby's had the experience, we've seen issues over here in the sculpture park where things are not being very well maintained. Now, of course, that takes money to do that, but we seem to have enough money in our city budget to maintain our other parks here in Boulder City, but we seem to be lacking on doing much here. So that's something that I intend to work with city staff to try and turn that part of it around. But I really think that there needs to be a private effort here to try and get something going where we can pull together to do some of our own work. I'm sure people have heard the estimates to do some of the repairs here would be in the millions of dollars. Well, that's probably not true. You could probably build this building 2 or 3 times for millions of dollars. But you have to start somewhere, and it does cost money, and it doesn't have to get done all at once. But the city's actually had title to this building for 33 years now. And if you take a look at the building, I ask you if anybody from the city's done anything on this building in those 33 years. They talk about deed restrictions. Well, the deed restrictions that Federal Health and Human Services had put on this were not very restrictive. They were actually encouraging the city to try and do something with this building. Again, they kept saying, oh, we can't do anything because of deed restrictions. That was probably never really the case. You can read those, they're on the city website. That information's available. If you go under the community development and look for the Historic Preservation Committee, you can read the deed and those deed restrictions that are on there. So again, the question then gets to be, why is that? Why do we let this place sit? Well, I don't know, but I'd like to see that stop and people be able to go and start doing things with this building. I'm sure there are people here who have approached the city before. I know I have. I've done that with others. And all of a sudden, they stop talking to you. Same with the gardens here. Requests get made to do things, and all of a sudden you don't get talked to, or maybe some bad things start happening. We can't have that. There's no need for it in this town. So I'll let, I guess, Ray, you want Ray to speak now?
One question. Why can't RDA money be used to repair this building?
This does appear to be within the RDA. If it's not, it's simply a vote of council to put it within the RDA. Yeah, those types of things can be taken care of pretty quickly if there's a will to do that.
Okay, thank you.
And the RDA, what he's talking about is the redevelopment agency. Currently that's getting about $600,000 a year in revenue. So there is some money out there. We do spend some of that money, but that account kind of continues to grow.
Can we let the speakers talk and then ask questions? Whichever speaker.
Okay, well, it's hard to follow Kieran. He pretty much said it all, I think. But I just tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I love this place. I'm not from America. I'm Irish, and I came to this town. I had nobody here, no family, no friends, nobody. And for a lot of years, it was like that for me. I would come up here by myself and hang out and occasionally meet somebody who was a gardener or someone that was admiring this building and have conversations, and I enjoyed this place. I would hang out here. I would come here and enjoy it. I love it, okay? And eventually I got a garden. I'm a gardener now. So I'm privy to I'm privy to what's going on with the city and the gardens also, and it's not good. They don't treat the gardeners very well. They treat the gardeners with disdain, okay? And it's no accident. But anyway, I'm here because I love this place, and you know, the gardens are here because of volunteers. People like us built the gardens, and people like us built the Reflections Park. People that love Boulder City and want to do something nice, and we're enjoying that right now. I was enjoying it. A lot of people are enjoying it, and I resent the fact that somebody could just come along and say, well, you know, I have a better idea for that place, okay? You know, it's not that important to the community. We could have a upscale microbrewery here, you know, $12 a pint, you know, for bad stout. Okay? I'm sorry, but that's the reality, you know? Yeah. And I love old buildings being repurposed. Some of my favorite places in Europe used to be post offices and banks and this and that, but it's appropriate in the location where they are. This is not appropriate, in my opinion. No. And it's not appropriate to uproot the gardens or the sculpture park and take away the benefit that we get as a community here. I resent that. Now, that's one of the reasons why I'm on the Historic Preservation Committee, and I'm also a member of the History and Arts Foundation. And I can tell you that before this was even spoken about at the council, our acting city manager came to our meeting unannounced, not on the agenda, and he was representing the developer that wants to buy this building. Now, I resented that, but they had their say. They gave us a pitch, and they told us the good news was it's 0.999 of an acre, and we won't have to have a vote on it, right? Well, apparently it's not, so we will have a vote on it. And I almost welcome the vote because I really encouraged. I think people don't want that to happen. But something has to happen, and it won't happen unless we demand it. And that's what I'm here for today. I demand that the neglect of this building and the gardens ends, you know, and it's up to us to make that happen. They won't do it on their own. You know, if you want it, you have to fight for it. So that's why I'm here today, and I wanted to share with you about these people coming to our meetings unannounced, represented by city staff who are prepared. Scott was prepared to support them. He had photographs, he had everything ready, and yet they're not on the agenda. How many of you have gone to these meetings and been told, I'm sorry, you can't, that's not on the agenda tonight, you can't speak. Yeah. Oh, but if you're a prominent member of the town, you know, you can, city staff will listen to you. They'll bend over backwards for you. But if you go up and say, hey, listen, we really think we should do something with this building or the gardens, like Kieran said, Nothing. In fact, Libby here is being threatened right now, aren't you, Libby? For attempting to turn on a faucet here that was put in for our benefit, and they came along and they took the handle off the top, unannounced. No one told us you won't be able to use that anymore. Blah blah blah. Libby tried to open it with a key because we thought maybe this is just because they don't want homeless people coming up here and getting water, or I don't know. But she wrote that in an email to people that, for your information, this doesn't work. And she's after getting admonished by the master gardeners in Las Vegas. They're threatening to take away her master gardener status because Roger Hall complained to them that Libby wasn't following the rules. There's no rule. There's nothing up there that says don't turn on the tap. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is what we're up against. I want you people to know that. This is what we're up against.
We do know.
And there's a lot of complacency, in my opinion, with people who make decisions in town, and they're making bad decisions. And we got to stand up to that. The mayor told me personally, his own words, I had a meeting with him, he told me this is all happening because Scott Hansen wants it to happen. I swear to you those were his exact words. I'm sorry, Ray, but Scott, he really wants this. This is what I got. I'm on the preservation committee and I'm fighting for preservation, and this is what the mayor's telling me. I'm sorry, Ray, Scott really wants this. Well, Scott, I don't want it, Scott. Do it somewhere else, Scott. Don't do it here in this town that was built by people that came from everywhere, broke, poor, and this is we're benefiting from what they did. So, the little bit we can do to demand that it be looked after, I think is worth it. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Desert Sculptors was formed over 30 years ago, and one of our founding father members right here, Mr. Don Chirpy, was from the very beginning in Las Vegas. Yes. And he had gone to the mayor of Las Vegas and said, we have sculptors, fine sculptors from all over the country that are here, and can you give us a place to work? And they turned a section of abandoned buildings in Lorenzi Park over to the Desert Sculptors, who re-roofed it, cleaned it up, held classes, and sculpted in person for everyone to see. And I think then from a number of years there, their purpose was to advance arts in southern Nevada, and they came over to Boulder City and were offered this to set up on this plot of land, which was from Teddy Fenton, who said, I want to dedicate a park to the arts. And so she got together with Steve Liguri and John Stockman and two prominent sculptors, and they began this park, and Teddy paid a big chunk of money for this to happen there. And they did redesigns on the interior. Alan did a redesign and did all the layout of the landscape over there. And we had an agreement that if the city would maintain the grounds, we, the sculptors, would install the sculptures. And this was a high dollar item for us. It required cranes, it required concrete trucks, and we poured bases 5 feet by 3 feet for each of the sculptors and installed. And this was good and fine. We have kept our part of the bargain. We have maintained the sculptures, painted the bases, and cleaned up when we're here. We've had lots of picnics and dedications over there, and have had a wonderful time with that. And then suddenly the upkeep on the landscape stopped, and plants died because water lines were broken and weren't fixed. And so we're kind of in this transition period now of renewing that, which I am positive is going to happen, and it will work. And I think that this whole area of the building, the gardens, and the sculpture park are a huge asset and will continue to grow as a bigger asset to this town.